It's not just about the bags. Don't sing! It's about the plastic. Jingo. Plastic that some products are wrapped in. Hey Google, what's more sustainable, a real Christmas tree or a fake Christmas tree? Reusable bags are easy to buy.
On the website theweathernetwork.com, they say, research shows that artificial trees are replaced every 5 to 7 years.
The real challenge.
These trees are petroleum-based, which means when they are sent to the landfill, they will not decompose, they will just take up valuable space.
Is buying the products that just aren't in plastic already. Great. Did just a quick Google search of grocery plastic. The top choice was plastic grocery bags in stock. That's the opposite of what I want. Grocery stores are packed with plastic. Will that ever change? Let's read this. National Geographic. Oh yeah, it's talking about this grocery store in France. I heard about them. They are like 100% like zero plastic packaging. None of their products in their grocery store are in plastic anything. It's all just like open market stuff. Kind of like if you go to other countries that commonly have like open air markets. Like when I was in Ukraine, they had the bazaar. Products were just, in crates, right? I mean, there was a lot of plastic bags. Just like open containers where you can grab your spices, your fruits, grains, pastas. Like, oh my God, this store in New York also sells like plastic-free tofu. Like that's one of the things I can't find around here. The only kind of tofu I can find is in a plastic container. Why tofu? Oh yeah, that's a good quote. Plastic is ubiquitous in grocery stores. It's so common, it's invisible. Not only is it important that the consumer is not buying things wrapped in plastic, or you go into a grocery store and it might have a bulk section, but how did those items get to the grocery store to begin with? Like if the retailer is buying all that produce wrapped in plastic, I mean, it doesn't quite defeat the purpose, but I mean, there still is less plastic if like the big bulk items coming in plastic and then they put it out for people to take in a non-plastic container. Then technically there's less plastic, but like the buying practices of retailers need to improve as well. I don't know where I was going with that. Here's some stats. So a quarter of the plastic waste that finds itself in landfills is food packaging. So like the plastic that's found there was part of like touched food at some point. So that's a lot. Chip bags, candy bars, or just, drinks, energy drinks, things like that. A lot of that just ends straight up in the landfill. Even if you try to recycle it, some of the things you can't recycle, chip bags, you can't recycle those. They just go straight to the landfill. And all of those are majority petroleum based. They're not going to break down. One of the culprits though, maybe I shouldn't call them out, Trader Joe's. Well, so much of their stuff comes wrapped in plastic and it doesn't need to. I think they're trying to do something about it. They're probably trying to do something about it. I know there was this really harsh backlash on a couple stores, I don't remember which stores they were, that were selling pre-peeled oranges, and people were like, oh my God, that's so wasteful. And yeah, I mean, that is a little wasteful, but some people actually need that. People who have dexterity issues or, aren't able-bodied like a lot of us. So not all plastic is bad, and you shouldn't really judge people you don't know if you see somebody buying something like that, because you don't know what their situation is. So just all you can do is focus on you. 91% of plastic isn't recycled. I feel like that's also a known fact, but maybe it's not. Everybody should know by now that most of the recycling that you toss out isn't actually recycled. You should never do hopeful recycling. What does that mean? That means you pick up something and I don't know. Is this recyclable? It has one of those little triangle things. Maybe it's recyclable, maybe it's not. I'm going to throw it in there anyway and have somebody else deal with it. You know what happens then? China doesn't buy our recycling anymore. It just goes into the landfills. They were one of our top purchasers of our recycled goods. And then they're like, this stuff coming from America is literal garbage. We're going to stop buying it. I mean, I'm sure there's more political stuff going on there. But anyway, let me tell you which items from the grocery store are not recyclable. Number one, those orange mesh bags that, you know, you can get oranges in usually, not recyclable. Number two, and this one's huge, those little like clamshell containers that like cut up fruit comes in, you cannot recycle those. Number three, what's known as the Tetra Pak containers. Those are things that some juices come in. They kind of look cardboardy. They're not quite plastic. They're not recyclable. Plastic TV dinner trays. Does anybody even buy TV dinners anymore? Salisbury steak. Anyway, those trays are not recyclable. Cereal box liners. Those little bags the cereals come in, not recyclable. Plastic bags for salad and produce, not recyclable. If you buy any produce that's wrapped in plastic, remember what I said, it helps with the keeping the produce fresh. Well, that plastic is not recyclable. Keurig coffee cartridges. Keurig is just like, ugh. And I know that they can get reusable Keurig pods or like compostable Keurig pods, but the like straight from the manufacturer Keurig pods, not recyclable. Bottle caps, I feel like most people know this one, but bottle caps are not recyclable. And the reason why bottle caps aren't recyclable is because one, it's too little plastic. They can't really do anything with that. And two, the machines that sort plastic, especially mixed plastic, recycling centers, they can't detect. Just don't buy plastic bottles in general. And that's kind of the advice about any of this. If you do need to get containers or like cut, oh my God, eating utensils, cutlery, or plates or something that are more environmentally friendly, and you go and get the like biodegradable ones, those aren't recyclable. Don't try to recycle those. They are plant-based, not plastic-based. So if you throw them in with your plastic recycling, the recycling center isn't going to be able to recycle it because it's not plastic. Cardboard boxes that have the little plastic film windows, don't ever keep those together. You have to take the plastic window off and throw that away because it's difficult for recycling centers to separate the different materials. And then you can recycle the box. Everybody loves some chips. How else can you buy chips? You can't recycle chip bags. Straws. How the heck do you go grocery shopping knowing that there's so much that you can't recycle? Well, how do you do it? I'm going to take you all on a shopping expedition to see how I combat grocery plastic waste, not bringing it into the home. I don't know entirely what the grocery store I shop at, what their buying practices are, but I can be like 95% sure that they are like every other grocery store, big plastic containers. I want to add that during the non-winter months, I do go to the local farmers market. We do have one here, but they ended at the end of October is when they stopped the farmers market. So now I'm stuck with just the grocery store. So again, it's not about doing things perfectly. If you have to buy something that comes in a container because a container that's not recyclable, there's just like no alternative, then what can you do, you know? But what can you do to mitigate some of that plastic waste? Well, one of them is reusable produce bags. But if you're not interested in buying something or you're not able to buy something, no one's going to take away your shopping privileges if you don't use produce bags. You don't have to. There's no rule that says you have to put the apples that you get into a bag to take to the checkout to then put into another bag and bring home. Like, no one's going to stop you from just putting the produce directly onto the conveyor belt, which might gross some people out, but you know what? You're going to go home and wash that shit anyway, I hope. So, like, what's the big deal? Like, You can just not use bags. But I have these fun bags and I like using them. And they hold flour, they hold rice, they hold salt, oatmeal. Like, they're great. I can put so many different bulk items into them and they, no problem whatsoever. I can get spices in these. Hint about what happened to this guy. You may all be wondering, where's the grocery store footage? And I will tell you, my cameraman who accompanied me to the grocery store had one job, and that was to film this way instead of this way. Guess what? He filmed this way. And I don't know how to fix that shit after the fact, which is something I didn't catch until I started editing the footage, which is why you are now looking at me on a different day from a different angle, different outfit. Oh well. I did as I predicted. I got everything plastic free except for the goddamn tofu. Not the tofu! So that's, yeah, about 99% plastic free. The only other part, so maybe I'm more like 97% plastic free, but the other part is like, this is glass, right? But like the cap is plastic and then it's covered in this like shrink wrap safety crap, you know, to make sure nobody else has opened it and tampered with it. So I don't know how to exactly combat that. Definitely don't know how to make my own sesame oil. And as I said earlier, those types of caps and especially the shrink wrap around it cannot be recycled. So that's just gonna go into the landfill. Yeah. I didn't buy a whole lot. I do go grocery shopping every week. I love cooking. I don't buy prepared meals because I don't need to. And I try to avoid the produce that comes in plastic. So like celery, for some reason, I don't understand why, other than the whole trying to preserve it, I guess. Oh, I realized I don't have a scarf. A little change up. The Christmas tree isn't turned on either. I think I said everything I wanted to say. This fucking cough won't go away. Oh, right. If you haven't already, subscribe and watch my video from last week about what to do with pesky food scraps and food waste. Basically, it's about composting.